Something that pops up as a feature and variant in the action figure world more and more is what's called battle damage. And certain characters, companies try really, really hard to make battle damaged variants of. In the case of Star Wars, Darth Vader in particular has kind of had his ups and downs with battle damaged variants, from totally burned to crushed and, well, smashed up. It's been a long road, and taking a major, very popular character like Darth Vader, who's absolutely one of the best-selling toys, well, being able to come up with a legitimate battle-damaged version, which has been sold and had that name called out on package, can be a little bit of a tightrope walk, because you don't want to do something that's not accurate to the continuity, but at the same time create variants of toys that are both inexpensive to produce and will appeal to both kids and collectors, and probably most importantly, gift givers. Well, of course, Lucasfilm wrote themselves the greatest battle-damaged experience when, in the new Obi-Wan show, Darth Vader finally does get his butt kicked and half of his mask whacked off, and, well, we legitimately have an in-canon on-screen version that can now be sold as a battle-damaged action figure. I'm sure that will be coming soon. So what is the appeal? Why battle damage? Why is this even a thing? Well, we don't just see it with toy figures. We see it all over the place. We see it with vehicles that have smashed up scarring, or we see it with dinosaurs that have dino damage, as Kenner trademarked years ago in order to keep other people from making dinosaur toys at the time of the first Jurassic Park. I'll link to that video at the end. Or, even Iron Man looking like he's been through, quite a battle with Thanos, or however you want to pronounce him. Well, most of the time, battle damage figures tend to be slot fillers. But why even do this? Why take an existing figure and throw on some more paint, or hopefully tool up some more parts? Kids love it. You know why? Because kids get messy, and kids know what it's like to get hurt, to get messy, well, to have their own quote-unquote battle damage, whether it's paint all over their hands, mud on their face, or, Hashem forbid, actually hurting themselves and getting, bruised, but it happens. Kids bounce back pretty fast, and that's why they can relate to battle damage. Now, Star Wars in particular made battle damage popular for the first time ever. And I'm not saying kids didn't like, beat up tanks and jeeps and army men in the 1960s, but before Star Wars, sci-fi, the future, if you will, was always shiny and bright. Everyone was in matching costumes, and it all looked, like it had been polished and et cetera, et cetera. Star Wars introduced the concept that, well, even pieces of junk could fly around the galaxy from one end to the other, but you'll still not see anything that'll convince the pilot there's something called the Force. But he will make fun of your poncho, I promise you. So yes, while things that are junky and looked lived in became popularized with Star Wars, they weren't the only toy in the 80s to take advantage of battle-damaged deco. Perhaps the most famous example, of course, is the He-Man and Skeletor battle armor figures that were released in the mid-80s. These had a very innovative feature where you would touch the chest plate, either with your finger or ideally with an enemy's axe or sword, and if you hit it hard enough, the rotating barrel drum inside of the chest would rotate to one of three sections: clean, one smash, or two smash. And the very empowering thing for kids was this could then be reset, simply. Now, while this armor has become one of He-Man's sort of just standard looks over the years, and has often been released without said action feature, just as a, if you will, armor variant, even though it has to be tooled, we have seen different attempts to recreate the actual mechanism that was used inside of this, well, I guess, very innovative figure set when it came out in the 80s, Skeletor being the one from the matching set. When we did this figure in Classics as an adult collector figure, it was done with swappable chest plates, simply because having a mechanism inside of the chest with a rotating drum, well, that's extremely expensive, and you have to sell millions of units, which toys at retail can, which is why the original Battle Armor He-Man was back, as well as Skeletor in the Origins line, because they were selling high enough numbers at retail that they could afford to tool up the mechanism. Classics was not so much. And of course, this mechanism was used on other toys besides just figurines. Mattel brilliantly also used it in Hot Wheels, where in their Crash Ups line, you could take a car and basically simulate an accident or smash-up damage. You could smash two cars into each other, because what's more fun to do as a kid than to smash two things together? Believe me, if you have boys, you know that this is a core play pattern. And again, the ability to magically then fix and repair said car or armor, it's very, very empowering because it puts the ability to change from one form to the other directly in the child's hands. And it's almost like they are now literally in control of the car, which, believe me, cars are right up there with intimidating things for children. Now, there's another side to battle damage, and that's what I tend to call the quick and easy slot fill. I think one of the best examples of this is actually the Justice League Unlimited line, another brand and toy line that I absolutely had the privilege of working on, although these battle damaged figures came before my time when Mattel, rightly so, was trying to maximize their tools and the fact that some characters are more popular than others, and by simply repainting an existing tool, which they've already invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in, well, now you get more use out of it, so it amortizes that investment. But outside of a couple characters, battle damage doesn't always work as a deco. I mean, Hawkgirl with lightning-shaped rips in her outfit, it's great to amortize the tooling, but battle damage tends to work best for characters, well, like Superman and Batman, that you're constantly actually seeing in the comics get into these kind of scraps. Although, I don't think Superman's costume gets ripped as much as Batman's. Though, putting them to side, there are absolutely characters that battle damage is even more appropriate for. And that's kind of where it comes to what variant do you do? Do you just tool up a new accessory, like we did at the end of the Justice League line, giving both Superman and Batman unique pack-ins in order to get you to buy them again? Or do you just take the same tool and throw in some battle damage deco? Like I said, that's kind of my least favorite version of battle damage. I think it's most appropriate when it's both a character that this is part of their look, and you tool new parts, like this Wolverine that has a battle damaged mask with his hair coming out. Spider-Man also, another great example of a character that's constantly getting into scrapes and is constantly within the content, be it movies, comic books, radio dramas, or pantomime. Him and Wolverine are kind of known for getting their costumes ripped. So when you see an action figure that has a battle-damaged deco, especially if that deco actually has tooling involved, well, it's usually reserved for characters that have a ripped battle-damaged look as sort of part of their more common appearance. A battle-damaged, ripped-up Wolverine looks a lot more, I guess you could say, acceptable than, say a ripped-up, battle-damaged Orko. Spider-Man particularly gets battle-damaged because it allows the toy makers to show off the actor underneath the outfit. Actors constantly want, except unless you're Tom Cruise, to be shown as action figures because it's a great way to move their career and their movies forward. And Spider-Man in particular has had this advantage in multiple continuities and contents, such as the original Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi ones, where the Green Goblin gives him quite a smash-up, and you get to see the actor underneath the suit. So it's basically a way of doing a Peter Parker figure where you can actually see Peter, but he's still wearing his Spider-Man outfit. Kids like this because it looks like he's been in a scrap. The studio likes it because it promotes the actor. And, well, the toy companies are obviously going to much prefer to have as little tooling as possible. But when you take an execution like this, where you're just painting an existing tool with battle-damaged pieces, it doesn't always work, even if it's a character like Spider-Man who's going to get ripped up. This version of Spider-Man that came out from Toy Biz as part of the original Spider-Man Classics is one of my absolute favorite battle-damaged figures of all time because he's almost a fully tooled figure with battle-damaged parts, not just done with deco or pack-in snap-on parts. They actually tooled up Spider-Man with a ripped-up outfit just like he appears in the comic books and, well, the movies eventually as well. Although I have to give the award, the pièce d'excellence, to NECA's Alien Battle Damage line. These things are incredible. They actually have alien figures with their heads exploding as if they were hit by a pulse rifle. Now, is this going to work for everyday play? Probably not. But for a diorama and for an adult collector line, awesome. Iron Man as well. Great job when the companies actually tool unique armor with all the dents and scratches as opposed to just painting them on as a slot fill. That just never reads right, and even kids have a way of looking at this and being like, if I'm going to get battle damage, I actually want to see something unique, something different. They can see through that. Kids are a lot smarter than we sometimes give them credit for. So while battle damage will continue to be a go-to variant, It's always best when the figures actually look like they've been through an experience, not just putting on a different outfit that's hanging in the back of their closet like ripped jeans. When the figure actually looks like they've been through hell, well, for most kids, they see that as an experienced hero, not a damaged hero who's ready to get up and fight once again, even though he, she, or I guess it, in the case of a Terminator, has gone a few rounds with the bad guy. I hope this video was a good look at the history of battle-damaged figures, how to do them well, better, or best. There's lots of methods of tackling this problem, and there's a lot of reasons why kids relate to it so much, and collectors for their dioramas too. I hope this video was entertaining, and any help you can do sharing this video with others is a huge way to support this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.